Welcome back, everybody. Pulp Diction, we back again. Ishues, partner in crime over there, Whis. My favorite punching bag. Anyway, we back
Spun
again.
like water.
We back again. As you can see, we're at a different location. The show is now moved to internet radio show, MEU Radio. We in the building, right? So, what we gonna do, man, is we gonna switch the format up a little bit. Not too much, but this is the reason why we taking so long off the show. We pretty much just been revamping, changing things around a little bit. So, we back at it. And this guy over here said, we had some topics in line, but this guy was saying something ridiculous. So what was you saying? You said, we're gonna start with the NBA. You were saying, Boston?
What I was saying is that Boston has, at this point in time in the playoffs, as good of a chance, in the same ballpark, or basketball arena, if you will, a chance of making the finals as the Golden State Warriors do. Boston having swept their first round opponent, a hardy Indiana Pacers squad led by a resilient cast of unproven yet thoroughly underrated characters who were swept nevertheless.
Who's unproven yet thorough characters?
Alright, so we swept the Pacers, and the Warriors are sitting there getting pretty much letting little Patrick Beverly give them the business, and Martrez Hartrell, I don't even know how to pronounce his name correctly. Man was a second round draft pick.
That's a problem.
He's a great player. Martrez Harrell.
Some respect on his name.
I was actually a big fan of his since before he made it in the league. I would play with his character for a few seasons in my franchise mode in NBA 2K, and I drafted him in the second round as well. Actually, he was a tremendous double machine for me, and he's actually part of my franchise. He's a foundational piece in my franchise, as he will be with the Clippers or whatever team is lucky enough to sign him come free agency. Nevertheless, to get back to the point, the Clippers they're giving the Warriors the business, and I think that they're probably not going to win the series. I don't think that's an incredibly.
Who's not going to win the series?
No, I don't think that the Clippers are going to win the series. No, but I do think that they have a good chance of taking it to 7 games, and they are kind of providing maybe a little bit of a roadmap to other more capable teams of how to maybe go about beating the Warriors and showing, they're definitely providing a lot of motivation to, if any was necessary, to some of the other squads that are still looking real strong out there in the West, that there's some chinks in the armor. And obviously, there have been other times in the past that they have looked somewhat weak when maybe Steph has been injured or this or that, certainly before they got KD. But I think that now, and this is not a controversial statement at all either, that now they look more vulnerable than they have probably ever have been before. Especially now that DeMarcus going down in the first game or the second game of the series, I forget which one it was. I think it was the second, maybe the third. Doesn't matter. The point is, he's not coming back, and they have no other real big presence. They had this re-sign Andrew Bogut from Australia. Man wasn't good enough to play anywhere else in the league, so he had to play in Australia. But they go and get him. Obviously, they felt comfortable with his prior experience with them and the rings that I think one ring that he acquired with them, maybe two. I think it's just one. Two. Okay, so two. Obviously, he's the man knows what he's doing. But if he was still in the prime of in the full bloom of his abilities, he probably would still be playing in the NBA prior to being picked up in the last second by the Warriors. So I guess what I'm saying is this. Now here is the controversial statement that yes, in fact, the Celtics right now, based on how they're performing right now in the playoffs and some of the potential that they seem to not have been actualizing on during the regular season, look like they have a better shot now coming out of the East than they have had at any point prior to the beginning of the season.
Okay.
And now that's not actually saying. I don't mean to say that to disregard the Bucks, because they have looked great this regular season, as have the Raptors, and even the Sixers are starting to look a lot better than they did at the beginning of that series against the Nets. So I mean, there's 3 other tough squads that they gotta come out past, to be sure, and clearly it's really more of a statement of the vulnerability of the Warriors than the lack of opponents in the East for the Celtics. I think that the Raptors, they look great. To be sure, that trade had worked wonders, and getting rid of their coach and getting Nick Nurse apparently, and then also getting Pau Gasol's little brother Mark, who's actually bigger than Pau, and turned out I think he's a better player at the end of the day than Pau ended up being. Although he's not a champion yet, but nevertheless, I mean that's a really good squad. And picking up Marc Gasol at the end of the season like that was huge. And then, of course, they got Siakam, who's averaging over 20 a game in the playoffs right now. They're a good team. That, I think, honestly, I'm almost more worried about them than I am about the Warriors, truth be told. So really the question should be, who are you more worried about, the Warriors or the Raptors? I think that's almost probably a more interesting discussion. But so I guess really, like I said, it's more of a statement of the fact that I'm so surprised that this Clippers team is able to expose some of these weaknesses that existed on paper, or maybe not paper, intangible maybe weaknesses that existed as well, some of the weaknesses that exist on paper, and that they're really giving the Warriors so many problems. Now, what does Boston have going for it? I think they have the best closer in the league right now, with the exception of KD. I think that Kyrie is the best closer in the league, and I think maybe right now he might even be a better closer
in the league, right?
Say what?
He's not the best closer in the league right now.
I said next to KD, but I think right now he might even be a better closer than KD. Shoot, they've closed all 4 of their playoff games. Without even really, too much trouble, truth be told. Now, obviously they're playing against the Pacers, so you have to measure their...
Right now, KD or Kyrie is not the best closer in the league right now.
Okay, well, who do you think would be the
Damian Lillard is the best closer in the league right now.
That shot certainly does, and the fact that he's, 8 of 12 or something like that from over 30 feet.
Yep.
That's... you know, it'd be a really interesting finals.
People are just taking notice.
Now he's been a good finisher for a while, and
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying you just taking it. I'm just saying.
I think that it's apples and oranges. Truth be told, I would love to see the two of them face off in a finals. Actually, that'd be really interesting. If the Blazers somehow managed to beat the Warriors and the Celtics played the Blazers in I think that was the 89 or was a repeat of some finals for the 80s or something. Anyway, Clyde Drexler was on the Blazers, and Larry Bird was on the Celtics. That would be a really interesting finals to see that backcourt and to see those two go at each other, Kyrie and Dame.
Yeah.
I think it's debatable who the better closer is. I think Kyrie certainly is more recognized as the better closer because of his finals experience and the fact that LeBron James off the man considered to be by many the greatest player of all time. It certainly
By who?
A lot of people claim I don't think he's the best player of all time, but
not on this show. Man.
People will argue that. I'm not saying it is the truth, but certainly if the fact that he's in the conversation for one of the best players of all time.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, no, but at one point in time he was. And when he and Kyrie were playing together,
You're striking all that from the record.
When Kyrie and
people who were
LeBron
saying
James,
that then were out of their freaking minds. So
when Kyrie and LeBron James were on the same team, LeBron James was the best player in the world, and one of the top 5 or 10 players of all time. There's no debate about that. And yet he deferred to Kyrie's scoring ability at the end of games in the playoffs. So that spoke much of why Kyrie.
And that also spoke much to why you can't come in here and say he's debatable or any other word you want to put in front of the greatest
I don't
player
think that he's the greatest player of all time.
Okay.
My point was that some people would say that, and then the fact that some people would say that, well, there's a lot of people that get paid a lot more money than I do for an opinion about basketball that would make that contention. I would disagree with them, but nevertheless, the fact that he's even in the conversation for one of the greatest players of all time and one of the greatest scorers of all time, I don't know if that's actually true.
No.
The fact that he's scored, what is he, 15 right now? Where is he in the all-time scoring list?
I don't know.
LeBron. He's the mere fact that he's scored more than Michael Jordan has to mean that he's one of the greatest scorers of all time.
I don't know about all that, but okay, I got you.
The sheer volume. It's not like he did it 2 seasons. But look at
the sheer amount of time he's played in the league, though.
Well, certainly,
he's scored more than Michael Jordan playing 16 years versus Michael Jordan's 12. Okay.
there's a lot of other
That's why he
players.
scored more.
Right.
Naturally, he's going to score more if he plays longer.
I'm not saying he's the best, but the point is he scored a whole lot of points.
Yeah, but that doesn't
just about
qualify
99% of teams, he would be the most dangerous scorer on it, and this guy is deferring to Kyrie in the playoffs.
I get what you're saying.
After already having, so my point is that's why that's why Kyrie has acquired that reputation, and Dame has yet to acquire it. However, that being said, right now, ball is in their hands. Game is tied. We're down by 1. You know, who would you rather have the ball in their hands? Myself, as a Boston, not so much as a Boston Celtics fan.
Would I rather have Dame or Kyrie? Is that what you asking?
That was the hypothetical,
question.
and I would say that right now I would prefer to have Kyrie with the ball in his hands. However, I will add to that, I have not. I obviously have watched the ball. I mean, I've watched Kyrie play a lot more than I have watched Dame, and I've seen, you know, him consistently just prove utterly impossible to guard for just about anybody in the league. Kyrie. And Dame is amazing as well. I mean, but I just have seen a lot more of Kyrie. And so when asked that question, hypothetically, take Kyrie off of the Celtics and say, you know, Dame off of the Blazers. And so there's no emotional attachment for myself to say, oh, Kyrie. You know, it's just hypothetically speaking, I would say, because I've seen Kyrie play so much more, I would probably rather have Kyrie. That's not to say that Dame
It's apples and oranges. It's really apples and oranges, because the thing about it is, the only reason Kyrie has a stigma over Dame is because he played with LeBron. Period, point blank.
Well, I think it's
he
because
wasted time with LeBron.
Deferred to him.
I mean, however you want to, you know, LeBron is still in that sentence. So you take away
the
LeBron.
weird thing is LeBron has diminished almost every other star that has played with him, and yet somehow Kyrie has come away from playing with LeBron. His status is either the same or raised. You know,
Kyrie got diminished too.
I don't know. I disagree. Kyrie is one of the game's superstars right now.
Well, it's hard to diminish somebody who is going from up. He's already up. Dwayne Wade was already a champion. You can't. How you going to make a Dwayne Wade? How you going to increase his profile? He's already a champion. So
yeah,
Dwayne Wade's diminishment was number one, age and attrition. And then on top of that, it was more LeBron's ascent. Chris Bosh injury, same thing. You know what I'm saying? Other than that, who's other superstar? Kyrie. What was Kyrie before LeBron? Nothing. Somebody fun to watch.
In the draft, scored over 20
so was
points
Anthony
a game.
Bennett. So was Anthony Bennett.
Yeah, and so was LeBron.
So was a lot of number one picks in the draft.
All I'm saying is the number one pick in the draft means that he was recognized as something by
so was Markelle
Fultz.
I'm saying that don't mean anything.
It does.
It doesn't.
Sometimes people can be wrong.
What I'm saying
is he was nothing
Kyrie,
before LeBron.
But he wasn't. Kyrie was somebody fun to watch.
If he was a second round pick, I'd agree with you. But you know, if he was a second round pick,
so just because you're first round, just because you picked
not at all.
one,
but you're saying he was
so
nothing.
Kwame Brown.
You need to qualify what nothing is.
I'm just saying. You understand what I'm saying. Okay, let me break it down to you.
I mean, there was a big difference between Kwame Brown's rookie season and Kyrie's rookie season, and neither one of them was playing with LeBron.
Well, I mean, what does that have to do with
You just tried to say that.
I didn't try to say anything.
Or you made the comparison between Kwame Brown and Kyrie Irving.
No, I didn't make the comparison. What I'm saying to you is,
why did you say Kwame Brown?
Why did you bring up Kwame Brown? Because you were saying what I'm saying is, before LeBron came along,
Kwame Brown was a really
Kyrie was the number one pick.
Kyrie was a consensus
who have yet to lead in his team to any sort of success.
Anthony Bennett and Kwame
Cavaliers was trash.
Anthony
with
Bennett,
LeBron at the helm. With Kyrie at the helm.
Anthony Bennett and Kwame Brown were both not consensus number one picks. They were really controversial number one picks. In fact, Michael Jordan has never lived that down as a general manager, and it's kind of why he's sort of a laughingstock.
That has nothing to do with the point.
But
the point
it does, because the point is that
who cares about either one of them?
The point is that he was a recognized consensus number one pick because he was recognized as having a great deal of skill.
Did he have success in the NBA
yes, he did.
Before LeBron?
Yes, he did.
In the postseason?
He averaged over 20 points a game.
No. Success, winning in the postseason. Did he win in the postseason before LeBron?
He didn't even get
on win anything. First round.
He was on the worst team in the league.
Okay, what did he do before LeBron? That's the point. That's what I'm asking. What did Kyrie do before LeBron?
You're like segueing into like pointless debates.
No, it's not pointless.
I was trying to continue the point.
You just called it
Kyrie Irving is one of the best finishers in the league right now. Absolutely, in the playoffs, and proven to be. Whether he's the best or second or third, either way, those are.
I just gotta go at those little ridiculous statements.
You want to have it might be an emotional, standpoint that I would rather have the ball in Kyrie's hand, but no one would say that there's not a fourth person that you'd rather have with the ball in their hand at the end of the game in the playoffs that has proven themselves to not be too small for the moment. After that, we have multiple other, highly experienced players that are just sort of entering into their prime, who have an abundance of like proven playoff experience, and then you also have guys like Al Horford, who have a ton of playoff experience as well, that have yet to really get over the hump in those playoffs. With those Mike Budenholzer teams, and also with these Celtics teams that have made 2 straight finals with Al Horford ever since he joined. It's like Al Horford is like a Eastern Conference Finals machine. He just can't quite get through that barrier of the Eastern Conference Finals. But that's gonna. I'm not saying that I would put money on the Celtics beating the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals, because I am somehow I'm able to divorce my fandom when it comes to pulling money out of my pocket and placing wagers on. You know what I mean?
You're smart then.
Well, I'm also honest too. I don't think that I would say that the odds right now are somewhere around like 50-50. It'd be a toss-up. It's gonna be a heck of a. Now, I do think that we will beat the Bucks, and the reason I think that we will beat the Bucks is this isn't an emotional thing. This is just from the standpoint that I don't really think that the Bucks have a whole lot of other really proven finishers on that team aside from, and maybe even up to and including Giannis. However, Giannis is a monster. He's a freak of nature right now. The man is 7 foot, I don't know how many inches tall. I mean, he's really capable of, and he's constantly evolving and improving his game. He can pass the ball from all kinds of different platforms. He's really practically impossible to stop, just driving the ball with his back to the rim. I mean,
just as unstoppable as Kyrie.
Different ways. They're unstoppable in different ways. He might be more unstoppable.
He might be more unstoppable.
He might be more, he might be less. It's different. It's hard to say. And it's hard to say
more.
You can make that argument. The one thing that you cannot say, however, is that he is more proven than Kyrie. And Kyrie definitely is more proven. And also, you cannot say that Kyrie is not a better shooter than he is.
Yeah, of course.
Right, so those are obviously.
He's a better shooter than Giannis. Giannis is a better rebounder, better defender.
Kyrie's defenses look so good at first. I'm starting to feel like Kyrie's defense is merely a manner of when he wants to start actually playing defense, because he was the best defender in every one of those games against the Pacers. It was unreal. It was the Pacers. You're right. It was, and I'm not going to say that.
But the Pacers without Oladipo.
You're right. So I'm not going to totally transform my notion of who he is as a defender. I will say, however, that it's like he put on a different mask or something. He's decided to be like captain, general, floor running defender. The guy had 3 steals a game. It was amazing. His defense was phenomenal, and it wasn't lazy sort of free safety kind of defense like guarding the passing lane time. I was inspired watching him. Truly, I was inspired because I've been wondering about the guy for a while now, and seeing him be able to make that turn and seeing the way his team.
Let me ask you a question. Yeah. Are you a bigger Kyrie fan or a bigger Boston?
Oh, what? It's Boston fan.
Boston fan or bigger?
Kyrie? Bigger Boston, not even close.
Apparently, you're a big fan of both. I just want to know where your loyalties lie, player or franchise.
Okay. Not even close. If Kyrie left the Celtics in free agency and decided to go to play with the Knicks or any other team, he would be, a talented player, and I would respect his game, and I would be entertained to watch him play because he's a player after that. But I would, no. I am if I can let IT go, I can let Kyrie go. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah Thomas now, I'm not a fan of Kyrie as a player. I very rarely become fans of players. I'm not a fan of much, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm a fan of, Boston Celtics are the only professional sports franchise, period, that I'm a fan of. Yeah. Other than that, I'm a fan of the games themselves, the sports themselves. Yeah. Very rarely do I become a fan of individual athletes or sports franchises. However, Isaiah Thomas, earned my fandom with the way he was willing to sacrifice for that squad, that team, the way he played with his heart, the way he just really proved that what is inside a person's mind and heart is actually more important than what is on the exterior of them, and he proves it on a daily basis. And he just said the definition of an inspiration. And then to see the way he put it all on the line when his body was failing him, when his tragedy was afflicting him on all sides, and he still went out. I mean, I have flashes right now just thinking about it. That man, I'm a fan of Isaiah Thomas. I really hope he has the best for him, and though he ends up having some success in the postseason with Denver and going forward in the future. And I was almost heartbroken the way they dealt him for Kyrie, because I felt like it was such a betrayal. And I knew in the back of my mind that when they made that trade, that Danny Ainge is not going to make a dumb move. He may make a heart-rending move, but he's going to make the long-term smart.
That was a good move,
and it was. It was a heartbreaking move.
That's the thing about it is when you talk about the NBA, you talk about superstars, and it really comes down to whether you were able to separate. And it's not shining light, whatever. It's just the heartstrings from business. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, number one, I know a lot of people was inspired by Isaiah Thomas and all this other stuff, whatever. But coaching had a lot to do with it. Brad Stevens had a lot to do with it. Brad Stevens put him in position to be successful, and then he rose to the occasion, which is what he's in the NBA to do. So at the end of the day,
and he was paid very well to do so.
Exactly, you know what I'm saying? But then, he pretty much, the lesson in that really is like, you gotta handle your business, and you gotta be smarter, because he should have got I don't know, surgery, whether he got it, whatever, but he put himself in a bad position, but that's just how it goes. But we're gonna take a break and get into some music, and we'll be right back with Pulp Diction. Sit back, vibe out.
Go Celtics, go Celtics.
Apparently,
go Clips too.
Going with these.
Go Clips too.